Good morning, everybody. You know, there are few places in the world where if you go somewhere amongst a group of people, that they will automatically and immediately want to harm you. Not just harm you, actually even kill you. And perpetrate the most awful crimes against your family, women and children. I'd like to tell you about one of these events, and one has to be very careful when visiting South Africa where you take yourself. Always be with a reliable guide, someone who knows the situation, someone who's intelligent, someone who's empowered, armed if necessary, and will not take you into an area of extreme danger. These are true tales of my African adventures. May this inspire you, deter you, caution you, and above all, entertain you. Now, when Winston and Sara were quite young, I would say they were probably not more than 5 or 6. We went down to Natal, the south coast of Natal. It's beautiful down there. The beaches are wonderful. It's a semi-tropical and tropical forest. There are these wonderful green mambas that live in the forests along the coast, black mambas too. And the sea abounds with fish. It's a wonderful place, and there are lots of these towns dotted all along the coastline. Beautiful beaches, and the water's warm, but beware, lots of sharks, although they hardly ever attack anybody. But this event that took place is something that can happen to anybody, and you have to be very careful. So, after our holiday, we were heading back inland towards the central parts of South Africa, then up towards Johannesburg, where we lived at the time. And we were traveling along the cane fields, sugar cane fields, of which there are many all over the place there. So what happened was, a person, a Zulu, who had gotten so drunk, they'd get these tribal villages and settlements all around the place there. This Zulu had gotten so drunk, and he was lying across the road facing oncoming traffic, and a lot of the oncoming traffic there was cane trucks, huge big pantechnicons laden with tons of cane, sugar cane, cut sugar cane. And they would just cut him in half. So immediately I saw this, and I knew the next cane truck would be coming any minute. So I pulled the vehicle over, jumped out, ran over to him, dragged him to the edge of the road. There was a steep embankment about 20 meters down, and threw him over the edge. So he would roll down to the bottom. I was hoping he'd knock himself out and stay there. Anyway, the next cane truck came. He would have been, as I say, cut in half, stone dead. So I didn't drive off. I waited till the truck passed, 1 or 2 cars. And then I went over to go and check if he was indeed lying still. And he was crawling back up to get back on the road. So I said to the family, listen, this guy is going to commit suicide today. He doesn't obviously mean to commit suicide. He's just so drunk. He's so stupidly drunk that he is in that space where he is going to commit suicide. So I said, we'd better get him out of the area. So I made a U-turn, went to the area where he was crawling up, pulled off the road out of the way of the cane trucks. And when he got to the top, I grabbed him, hoisted him up on my shoulder and threw him into the back of my truck. Now, I knew he would try and jump out of the truck while I'm moving, and commit suicide that way. So I had to drive in such a way that every time he tried to get up, he'd fall over. And I didn't want to injure him. So what I did was, every time he tried to get up, I'd tip the brakes and he would fall forward, or accelerate so he'd fall backwards, depending on which way he was trying to go. Swerve a little to the left if he was trying to get out the other side, and so on. So it had now become dark. And I found a dirt road, a dirt track, a sand track. And I went off on the sand track into the cane fields, and the cane fields went a distance, and then there were trees, some forested areas, but I noticed there was some light quite a distance off in the trees, and I thought, well, that may be a village. I'll just go and offload him in the village, and in this way he will be taken care of and he won't get back to the road. So we drove and drove and drove. It was quite a drive, and bumpy road full of potholes, because it rains there at the coast quite a bit, and a lot of heavy traffic goes on these dirt roads, cane trucks, etc., farmers' vehicles, and potholes are created. Finally I got to the village, and there was, immediately you drove in, you could see all the huts and little rudimentary houses. And there was a big open area with a huge floodlight. And it seemed to be an area where people gathered or met or played sports, but it was dead quiet, not a soul in sight. It wasn't that early anymore. So I pulled up, went to go and grab the fellow to get him out, when suddenly a gang of men appeared and walked menacingly over towards me. And the leader of the gang, appeared to be the leader, walked straight up to me, boldly stuck his face in my face, and he said, "What are you doing here?" He could speak English. Not very good, but he could speak English. So I explained the situation to him, and he stood there listening to me, icy cold, staring at me. And when I was finished, he said to his men, his fellow gang members, offload the man from the truck, which they did. And he said to me, "Now get out of here." He said, "Because you saved this man's life, this time we will let you and your family go, but don't come back ever again." What they would have done had we just been tourists gotten lost, or people looking for something or the other, would be unmentionable. And we are extremely lucky that we had saved that man and brought him in under those circumstances. But that is what happens when you go into some of these areas. There is so much hatred, and the nature of the people is so bad, so toxic, and they prefer to do gratuitous harm than to help you. It is a terrifying thing, and something to be avoided